So, priority of other liens, government liens, code enforcement violations, other water, sewer, all of that. These liens survive a tax sale. They're not going to get wiped out. A lot of them will be included in that super priority status. But you can't not pay your, like, oh, we had a property tax sale or property tax deed sale. The water is due. I don't have to pay it. Oh yeah, you do. As the new owner of that property, you're still responsible for water, sewer, code enforcement liens that were on the property prior to you buying it. They can be satisfied with the overbid funds, but if there's not any overbid funds or not a lot, the new owner that bought at tax sale is responsible for paying those liens, even though they're, like I said, they're not the ones that caused the violations. You can't get rid of the governmental liens. Their overbid funds are good. And that's a cautionary tale for people that buy at tax deeds. They need to know before they, buy this property what's on it, because they may have bought it for a song and all of a sudden you've got water, sewer, code enforcement liens that are astronomical. You can't just delete them. Private liens.
Hey,
yeah. Yep.
Hey, Karen, I just want to see if I could jump in. I have a question on here. So, and I don't know if you could just kind of go through the explanation again, but the question is, what is the purpose of buying the tax certificate and not the house?
Because a lot of people,
repeat that.
Yeah, absolutely. So because people do it as an investment thing. You're buying the debt and so if I get 13% interest on someone's debt, I'm holding it for 2 years. I get 13% every year. They don't pay it off. When I go to sell it, and I don't want the house, I just want to make that return on my investment. I want to get that 13%. Buying the house now means I'm stuck with the house. They're just looking to basically make the money back in that interest that they're collecting. The starting bid is 18% for interest at the tax certificate sale. And if you bid 17%, you're collecting 17% on that debt. So let's say the debt, which I'm terrible at math, so let's say it's $1,000, but now you're collecting 17% on that $1,000. So what is that, $170? There's no real cost to you. You're basically getting your interest back. You're making interest on this property. If you buy it at tax sale, and a lot of people do, but let's say if you buy it at tax sale, now you have this house with some issues, you have to sell it, do whatever you want with it. And there's a lot of investors that they write it out the whole way, but there are some groups that just buy the tax certificates and then, dump the property because they just want to make that interest that they won the bid for, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. And for the one that asked the question, if you want additional explanation, please let me know. I won't say your name, so, but just in case, let us know. There are 2 additional questions. Is it okay if I ask a few others?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see here. What happens to the mortgage holder?
We're getting to that right now.
Or is this, oh, perfect. Or is this just on properties with no mortgage? If we're getting to that now, that's fine. And then the other is, do you wait until the sale of the home before you collect any of the interest on the debt?
Yeah, well, if you sell, basically it has to go to the sale, and that because the sale is going to pay off whoever started the tax deed application, and the tax deed application is going to include all that your interest that you were trying to collect, plus whatever other fees you had to pay to get that tax deed sale. So that point you get paid off, because at the end of the day, the tax collector, you as a tax certificate holder, are taking that debt off the tax collector. So the county's not necessarily getting that money. They'll get the money if there's overbid funds. So you as a tax certificate holder are basically taking the debt off the tax collector, and you're trying to collect that debt with your interest. And it's sort of, lightens the load for the tax collector. At the end of the day, you're going to get all your money back, plus your interest that you charge if you sell it at the tax deed sale. Yeah, that's why people do it, because they're like, oh, I can make my 13% interest for 2 years or whatever it was.
Got it.
Okay, so
Okay,
mortgages.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So mortgages, judgment liens, association liens, judgments against the property do not survive a tax sale. Caveat, they have to have been given notice prior to the tax deed auction, but they don't have to be personally served. Only the property owner does. So as long as it's in a legal publication or tax collector website or whatever, that's pretty much notice to these groups. So what happens to the mortgage holder? And this is what, this is sort of the scary part, because I've worked in foreclosure for a long, long time. And, we get to a foreclosure sale, but the property taxes weren't paid. And it's like, too bad, mortgage is gone. You don't have any more rights in it. You just lost your $300,000 mortgage lender to a $3,000 property tax bill, because that's the tax deed sale. They have super priority status over mortgages. So if your home sold through the tax sale eliminates a mortgage lien. Servicers, for the most part, advance the money because they do not want to lose their mortgage, their investment, which is going to be a lot more than the property taxes, to a property tax sale, and then they'll just make you as the mortgagor reimburse them through additional payments or whatever it is. If you can't pay them, then the mortgage is going to foreclose, because at the end of the day, that mortgage company wants that property. They don't want it to lose it to the property tax. That's why you have property tax escrows. Now, there are some situations where you don't have a property tax escrow. Mortgage companies are still paying attention to whether or not you're paying your property taxes, because like I said, in foreclosure back in the day when nobody was organized, we lost, $700,000 properties to like a $10,000 property tax bill. So mortgages are very on the ball. And so that's why it doesn't matter. Like if you're looking to buy at a tax deed sale, it doesn't matter if there's a mortgage or not on the property, because it's going to be wiped out unless they redeem it. So,
and
yeah,
Karen, we got more questions piling in. So
good.
Let me just look. Okay. First one, I'm just scrolling up here. What if it doesn't sell?
It doesn't sell at the tax deed sale?
From
well,
what I'm guessing,
it doesn't.
That was it seems like that's the answer.
So
or the
that's
question. Yes.
Yeah. So because the tax certificate holder starts the tax deed application and they're the first bidder, if no one else bids on it, that tax certificate holder gets the property. So the tax certificate holder, the guy that bought that debt, that lien, and now they want it to go to tax deed sale, and even if they don't want it, they're the first one that bids, and they bid what all that's due and owing them. And if nobody else bids on it, they get the property.
Okay. Yeah, and I see here there was a follow-up question on that. What if at the tax deed sale the home was not sold? What happens to the tax certificate holder?
They get the property
here,
because they're the ones that have to start the bidding.
Okay. And then if you just want to become the property owner, do you still have to go to the tax sale and be the highest bidder?
If you want to be the property owner but you don't want to do the whole tax certificate thing, you can just go to the when the court does the tax deed sales and just buy at the tax deed sale. You don't have to go through the whole tax certificate process. But if so you as an individual can just, whenever the auction is, you go on whatever county, the house where the property is, see when the tax deed sales are happening, and make sure you log on, you bid on it. If you're the highest bidder, you get the property. So you don't need to be an investor. You don't need to have bought at the tax certificate sale. You can actually buy at the tax deed sale.
Okay. And what if the holder never applies for TDA?
So they have 7 years to do so. And if they do not, they basically eat that debt.
Okay.
So they have
Keep the questions coming.
2 years minimum, 7 years maximum. If after, they can potentially file a judgment or something against the property, but for the most part, they have, per the statute, You've got 7 years to do something with this. If you're not going to do anything with your tax certificate, you basically eat it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So,
Actually, follow up. Can
yeah.
the tax deed be inherited or willed?
If you bought a tax deed sale, you own the property. You can do whatever you want with it. The tax deed sale is an actual purchase of the property. So once you are the owner, you can do whatever you want with it. If you're the tax certificate holder and it's not at tax deed sale, and let's say, yeah, you can will that stuff out provided it hasn't been redeemed or the tax deed sale happened. You can do whatever you want with your tax certificate before redemption or the actual tax deed sale.
Okay, and she did clarify, I meant the certificate, which you just clarified. So.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's just, it goes back to, you know, if you can transfer it to whoever you want, you can do basically whatever you want with it. The homeowner redeems it. You're just getting paid off. It's the tax certificate's gone. If it goes to tax deed sale, the tax certificate's gone. There's nothing there. Okay, so here are the risks associated with a deed sale. Like I said, we in the title world are really cautious with tax deed sales. It's a case-by-case basis a lot of the time, but there are things to know because there's like investment groups that just go out and buy all these properties. They're rehabbing them, they're doing whatever they want with them. But if you're just going in as a single person, you're just like, I just want to get into this game. Here are some cautionary things. There's no home inspection. Sometimes the property owner, homeowner still lives there because you can't kick them out until the tax deed sale actually happens. So you can't go in and look at the house. You have no idea what if there's major repairs, if there's major damage. You can see the exterior, you know, try not to trespass, but you know, you can see like the front of exterior, whatever, you know, maybe if there's some Zillow pictures from when they bought it, whatever, but that's the extent of what you can do in terms of a home inspection. So there could be a bunch of things that are wrong with it that you don't know about it because you can't get in there prior to buying it. So it's buyer beware, right? Redemption, property owner has up until the time of a successful bidder, or successful bidder makes the payments and a tax deed is issued to redeem the property by paying all the back taxes. And like I said, it's literally the morning of the tax deed sale, they have the right to get their property back. Because I did go to the courthouse a few times back in foreclosure days with a check to get that property back for the mortgage company. So redemption just means they get their property back. To redeem the certificate, the property owner or his representative has to pay the tax collector their delinquent taxes plus accrued interest, advertising costs, and fees. So you're just racking up what's due and owing. So you get at least 2 years after that tax lien sale, that tax certificate sale, to redeem before it's sold at a tax deed sale. So remember the process again. April 1st, your taxes become delinquent. By June 1st, the tax collector is selling that debt through a tax certificate sale. That tax certificate holder then has 2 to 7 years to file a tax deed application. If they file it within 2 years or whatever, usually there's 3 to 6 months after that before the actual tax deed sale happens. So you're looking minimum 2.5 years before, 2 years, 3 months before that tax deed sale happens. So you have that time to pay off your debt. You don't want to really wait till the tax deed sale because now you just keep accruing interest and penalties. So you can redeem up until the court clerk receives full payment for the tax deed or the county clerk issues the tax deed. Because it's all done online, it happens like automatically. So as long as it's before that tax deed sale happens, that's when you can redeem. Once they've received that payment or issued that deed, you're out of luck and you've lost your house. So on the title end, there's no marketable title. Properties sold for non-payment of taxes may not come within marketable title. So that's what we're looking in the title world. We want to make sure, you know, when we're issuing our policies, our owner's policy or lender policy, we're saying to that new homeowner, that lender, we've done our research, we've examined title, we've looked at 30 years of, property records in the state of Florida on this property, and you're good to go. Nobody else has an interest. No one can come back and claim their interest. Taxes have been paid off. You're good to go. And when we issue that gives, if anyone comes back and says, oh no, I have an interest, that homeowner, that lender is going to have a claim against Fidelity as the underwriter because we issued the policy. So when we're doing a tax deed sale, I'm going to show you the statute of limitations and stuff. It's really hard to determine if all those notices were given. Do we have marketable title? Can someone come back and stake a claim saying, I never received notice as a property owner? In order to do that, we actually require that the person that bought it at the tax deed sale go get a quiet title action. So quiet title action, you go to court and you say, I bought this property at tax deed sale. I need to confirm all proper notice was given. If the judge says you're good to go, then it will wipe out everyone else's interest. We can proceed and insure these products or insure the property. But without it, it's really hard to provide that marketable title because we don't know if proper notice was given. We have to take direction from a court. So,
Karen, can I
yeah.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
And I've been trying to answer some of your questions as they kind of come in, but some I just like to definitely ask you so that everybody else can kind of hear as well. So, what happens if I buy the 2019 tax certificate? Can someone else buy 2020 certificate and then someone else buy the 2021 certificate?
Yeah. But you, as a 2019 holder, you'd have that 2 years, right? So then at that point, when 2 years comes up and you want to file that tax deed application, you have to pay off the 2020, 2021, or whatever is due and owing out there. So you're going to have to pay all of that off. You'll make that up in the tax deed sale because that's going to be the opening bid, is whatever you're due and owing. So yeah, people can buy the tax certificate sales for each year. It's whoever files that tax deed application first, and it's going to be the one that's that's closest to the 2-year mark. So you'll get paid off as a tax certificate holder when that tax deed application gets filed if you're later in the chain. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
And then we had another question in here, and not sure how much you can answer on this one, but is a quiet title suit expensive?
It's going to depend on the court and what their costs are. You don't have to have an attorney to do them. You probably want one. There's a lot of real estate attorneys that can do them for you for cheap. But you're looking, maybe it could be anywhere from $150 to like $500. It's just going to depend on the extent of it. These tax sales, as long as the court's seeing, that notice was given or handed out or whatever, they're going to make the judgment like, hey, you actually own this property, or you've quiet title in the act or in the property, you're good to go. So it's all going to depend. If it's a really messy file, it could cost more because it's just more time. But you can look, I think you can go on different court or county court websites and see, what their filing fees and things like that are. But every court case could be different.
And that's what I was about to throw out that as well. Like each county could have a different price. So please, obviously Karen's just kind of given an estimate. So yeah, definitely check with the specific county you're in, and I'm sure they can narrow it down a little bit. So,
yeah.
And then another question on here: if it turns out the proper notice wasn't given, what happens then?
Oh, well, we're going to talk about that.
So wait, there's more.
Oh yeah.
All right, perfect.
There's
Thank
more.
you.
So we're actually, this is the slide talking about it. It's really, so state law requires that the landowners have to be given notice at several different points of the proceedings. And this is where it gets really tricky. Do we know they got notice? you know, like I said, they send the certified letter, and it is like, oh, if you've received this, you have to sign it. But, you know, sometimes they get returned. We don't know. Record keeping's bad at a lot of places, so we don't know if notice was given or not. Failure to receive proper notice will allow a divested landowner to challenge the validity of the tax deed. So I come in as a property owner. I'm like, I never received notice. You guys sold my house as a tax deed sale. I mean, I knew I was delinquent in taxes, right? But you still have to go through the whole, it's civil rules of procedure in courts. You have to give notice to somebody before you take their property away. Same in foreclosure, same in everything. Even though I know I haven't paid my taxes, I haven't paid my mortgage, that you're foreclosing, I mean, you still have to give me notice. You don't give proper notice, that tax deed sale can be voidable, and I get my property back. You have to pay your taxes and all that good stuff, but truly they can wipe out that tax deed sale if proper notice wasn't given. And that's why we don't like these in the title world, because we're ensuring homeowner, nobody else has an interest in your property. When we have a tax deed sale, we don't know if proper notice was given. You know, they can say, you know, the county can say, oh yeah, we sent out notices and blah, blah, blah. We need actual proof. So here's the big thing, and this is why we really hate them. You have a right to challenge for 20 years from the date of issuance of the tax deed. So 19 years down the road, I can come back and be like, oh yeah, by the way, this house has been sold, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get any notice, and this is my house. That tax deed is voidable. It's a big problem. So in title, we want to make sure that proper notice was given, because that's a claim waiting for 20 years. And people come out of the woodwork when they find out, oh, I didn't even know I owned that house. When it went to tax sale, oh, I want it back. I didn't get notice. There is one part of the statute of limitations that can reduce it to 4 years if the holder of a tax deed goes into actual possession of the real property. So if you're buying as an individual to live in the house as your home, or, you know, a residence, personal residence, then there is a 4 year, that 20 year goes down to 4 year. But once again, 4 years is a long time for someone to come back if they didn't think they were given proper notice. Oh, and that's it. So, so that's why we're really leery of it. But if you go get a quiet title action, that's when we, on the title end, and you as a person that bought at the tax deed sale, get that assurance from the court that you own this property. No one can come back. I mean, they can try and come back, but at this point, you file a quiet title action, they're going to send out notices at that point about a lawsuit for a quiet title action for anyone that had an interest in the property. And at that point, the court's going to be like, nobody responded, you're good to go, property's yours. And if the prior owner that lost the property at tax deed sale comes back and tries to argue it, it's going to be too bad, so sad at that point. We had another court action that actually said, I own this property.